here to get a load of logs. We're going to cut some, get some out. Hopefully, if I have time today, I'm going to go try to mark some timber. Not too far from here, but all depends on the time. We've been so busy here lately. Not that that's different than any other time. So, some of the things like looking at timber or marking timber, it's kind of hard to get to that. Sometimes it's needed. Got some pretty good logs to load up today. Got some pretty good logs to cut today. I'm really excited about cutting these other big trees on up the river here back to the direction. I don't know when we're going to get to those, if it'll be this coming week or next week. Hopefully next week we'll be back over cutting some walnut on the 648H. It looks like it's a good time too. I was just looking at the weather forecast for the week ahead, and it's not looking too fun. They're calling for snow, cold weather. They're saying now our February is going to look like a lot like the February of 2021, which for us was pretty brutal, pretty cold. We seen negative 21 there one morning last winter, which for our part of the world is very cold. That's the coldest I'd ever seen it here in Southwest Missouri in my 37 years of living. So, it's like Dad's already over here. I'm going to pull up along these logs and we'll kick them on and get the skidder warmed up. We're going to get to work. Still kind of frosty this morning. They say it's supposed to get up to like 55 today. I think we had 24 this morning when I left the house, so pretty cool this morning, which that's what we need on these fields. Which this here isn't too bad. This isn't near as wet over here as where we were hauling out from earlier in the week. So we were actually able to haul out in the afternoon here. Definitely makes it nicer on the frozen ground, or at least kind of a little bit frozen anyway. Big chunks of wood in there. Looks like Dad's working on that old ash tree top there. There was a few logs on the top of that we were going to try to salvage and get out. They're not real big, but the tree's down. Might as well get what we can out of it. Along the side here. Right about here. Good stopping point. That is probably one of the nicest silver maple I've ever seen. I think that thing measured 32 inches, is what Dad said it measured yesterday when we cut it. She's pretty. My Dad said this is some of the better maple he's ever cut in his life. Which, every time Dad tells me something like that, I always think it's a pretty bold statement, because, you know, Dad used to cut a lot of this maple. There's just not a lot of maple in our area around anymore. It's about all been cut out. I've always enjoyed cutting maple. There's just never much of a market for it. It's never got a good strong market. Right now it's doing fair at best. Compared to, you know, your walnut or your better oaks, it's not there. We don't have a good strong market for our maple, but right now, but the market is where it is. We're trying to cut some of it and we can move it. So that's a good thing, but it's always pretty cool to see big trees like that. A little one on that big one. Little guy right there, good. I've got another one. I'm going to try to fall that one right there. It'll fall out in the river and we'll just pull it right back up here on the bank. Everything else. Down to get a little firewood out of this ash tree top. I hope to cut some up. Ash is kind of starting to die, so I'll make pretty good wood for him. Dad's getting ready to bring this one down here. There ain't much holding it. We've got a pretty good southwest to west wind kind of coming, so he's trying to put this tree back over here in the edge of the field. That way, you know, it's a lot easier to clean that tree top up over there in the edge of the crop field as it is over here in the river. And that's really why all this looks as bad as it does right here, because all these tree tops we got to keep them out of the field and we got to keep them out of the river. And so we just got this little narrow strip to put them right here. So this is where they're all ended up. I'll spin you around here in a minute, kind of show you what it looks like behind me. And again, collateral damage on this job isn't such a big deal because all this stuff right here, all the brush and stuff you see, it's all going to come out, and this will all be farm ground here in the year to come. So a lot of changes happening in here, so trying to really get what we can for the farmer's sake and, you know, for our sake, because whatever we don't use, he's just going to dig out, put in a pile and burn. There she goes. Big tree. Little walnut. Just a few more stragglers to throw on, and we got some cleanup to do. That'll have us fixed up right here. Rounding out today, looking at some timber. Of course, walnut, white oak, black oak, but that there is probably the biggest sassafras tree I've ever seen in my life. I bet that thing is 20 inches up there. At 20 feet. That is a beast. You know, there's a good chance it ain't any good, but it's a big tree nonetheless. We don't usually see that kind of sassafras around here. We don't get a lot of big sassafras. I can only remember Dad cutting 1 or 2 sassafras trees my entire life. But there's quite a few of it here on this little knob on this ridge. Now, we cut the timber across the fence here about 3 years ago. River's right out there. It's a beautiful place. So every now and then we encounter a little wildlife looking at timber. Armadillo there. There he goes in his hole. You're not doing a very good job of hiding, buddy. There you are now. Oh, long ways to go. Now, this timber stand here is really old. This farm just recently changed hands a couple of years ago, and since then it's changed hands twice, I think. The gentleman that had it prior never would cut any timber. He had a lot of acreage. He passed away. His kids sold all his property. It got broken up. Several different landowners on what was once a big farm. Before that, the gentleman that did have it did sell some timber, and if you look through here, you'll see some stumps probably in the 30 to 40 year old range, I'm guessing. It seems like I can remember when I was a kid, along the road up here where I parked, there was some trees cut on one part of this farm. The bad thing is, like this right here, you're seeing a lot of that in here because these trees are old. And even a lot of the stuff I'm marking, I'm very, very unsure about it. A lot of these white oak are just, they're so old. They're riddled with dead limbs. Some of them got a little fungus, what we call devil's ears, growing off of them. Just a lot of things. So it's kind of a proceed with caution deal. And we're just trying to go through here and very, very selectively mark things. Of course, always my paint color of choice is white when I'm marking timber. A lot of trees in here, just not a lot of trees that should be harvested. A lot of them that are well past their prime that should have been harvested 20 years ago. Here's the remnants of the last harvest right there. A couple of the old stumps growing down this little draw here. I'd say they're probably pretty good trees. I'm guessing that was probably walnut there. That might have been oak there, just by the way they've got them cut. They've been cut many, many, many years ago. I think I actually know the gentleman who cut it. He's still alive. He's about Dad's age. It's a beautiful farm. If it was cleaned up, it's still a beautiful farm, but it's just been neglected for too long. The new owner's got a lot of work ahead of him. That's going to conclude today's video with that there. Shame, isn't it? That's a big walnut tree. That's what happens when you let them go too long. Sometimes people think they're really doing themselves and nature a a service by not harvesting their timber periodically. But in all honesty, they're not. It's a lot of money wasted right there. Now what this will do, when we go in there and we do a minor thinning, because I've only marked trees that need to come out that are still salvageable. This is mainly a hunting property, recreation, so any of the trees that are too far gone, like on your white oak, if they're not going to be a good log, we're just leaving them because they're still going to produce an acorn for the deer and the squirrels, good wildlife trees. And even that walnut there's a chance, yeah, we might be able to pull a piece out of the top. That's probably a den tree for something. So we try to be very wildlife conscious about when we go through and mark timber for a harvest. We've still got a lot of marking to do, but that's probably going to be it for today. I'm going to try to come back out here tomorrow, mark a different part of the farm. We've still got below the little bluff here, which sends back to my west there. This would be a beautiful place for a house overlooking the river bottom. Just, what a view. Anyway, guys, that'll be it for today. I know a lot of people always want a video of what it's like when we go through and mark timber, but can't tell everything we do. Sometimes it's trade secrets and what we're looking for. The telltale signs on trees and how we justify marking what we mark and figuring up what we figure. So, maybe another video. Guys, thank you so much. Enjoy yourself. We'll probably see you tomorrow. Hey guys, if you like what you see, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for all of our latest videos.